So for today's episode of the Expo, I am so excited to be with a very special guest. His name is Anthony Coakley, but you probably know him as AC. This man has many jobs, okay? He is on the radio. He is a big-time member of One Family as well as Enigma, and he does many other things. But there's no better person to tell his story than the man himself. So AC, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I think that was it. We could wrap up the interview. That was great. It was awesome. They know everything. Mm. Well,
Yeah.
yes, as you said, I am a radio personality. I'm the show of AC in the AM on 98.7. I've been in the radio industry in the broadcast of, let's say 20 years. So,
Oh,
you
wow.
know, yeah, and I love it. It's one of my greatest passions. Um, love the field. And so, yes, that's, and of course, another passion of mine is Junkanoo. I've been involved in Junkanoo in some shape, form, fashion from I was able to walk, I think,
Oh,
you
wow.
know. So I've been around Junkanoo for a little over 30 years, thereabout somehow, yeah. But I've been a member of One Family for 12 years.
Mm.
Um, I've been a member of Family for 12 years. And of course, when the opportunity was made available to get involved in Carnival, hey, as a Junkanoo, it was a very seamless and almost no-brainer uh,
Mhm.
transition, or well, not so transition, but opportunity to take advantage of. And so, with two partners of mine, we got together and started Enigma.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
I realize a lot of persons they don't know that the faces behind the scenes of many of the carnival groups are Junkanooers,
yeah, yeah.
and a lot of those skills translate from Bay Street to the actual carnival costume design and creation and development.
Yeah, it is real seamless, and I would say maybe 90% of the persons that are involved in Carnival that are the owners of Carnival bands, or we call it a group, are Junkanooers. It we did was just took what we did in Junkanoo and transitioned it
Mhm.
into a new and a different art form, and it allowed us to be able to be creative without all of the, because Junkanoo has a lot of rules, and it's very
Mhm.
stringent. You have to stay within this box. And the reason for that, of course, is so that we can try to maintain the authenticness of Junkanoo and keep it, as traditional as possible. And that's a good thing. But Carnival, you don't have to work within those constraints, and more than anything else, it's a great business opportunity.
Mhm. Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about Carnival a little later on. But you mentioned that you have been a die-hard Junkanoo for about 30 years. I rushed once, and that was an experience. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got into Junkanoo? What was your first Junkanoo experience like? And just take us through that process.
My very first Junkanoo experience that I can vividly remember, I think I was about maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that, in that time, in that age bracket.
Mhm.
And I remember my uncles through Wilson track on the porch. They rushed for the Saxons.
Mhm.
I remember my uncles pasting their costumes, as a little boy, and I was so fascinated by what they were doing. And I wanted to help, but of course they didn't let me touch their costume, the mess of their lines.
Mhm.
Um, and so that was what I would say my very first experience, or exposure to Junkanoo, in terms of seeing a costume and seeing the process on. Took me to Bay Street along with all my cousins, and that night before the parade, I could not sleep because I had heard so much of a Junkanoo. I wanted the first two came around. Ironically, uh, majority of my family were Saxons, but my dad was the one sole Valley boy. And so I
Oh,
was the
that
first
means that was
rooting for
big
my
row in the
dad.
house.
Oh yeah, I was the first rooting for my dad. And he was in the brass section. And that was very early when the Valley introduced brass into Junkanoo. And a
Mhm.
lot of the police band members, which my dad was a member of the Rubberhams Police Force Band, a lot of them were a part of that very first brass section, and in that brass section in the Valley. And so, when I saw them come around and I saw that, instantly I fell in love. I was a big Valley fan. I will go on record and say that. Yes, okay. I will have to hear this from many of my Valley compadres.
I feel like they can just clip that piece right there and just send it to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. That's the blackmail action right there. But that was my first experience with seeing a Junkanoo parade. Not until many years later when I could go and say and do as I want, as I pleased, that I was actually able to participate. But throughout all the years, my cousins in what is known as the Pawn, the Ferguson boys, who were big Valley boys. I would assist, whenever they would let me, run one strip of paper or two, be around them and see what they were doing. And so I'd be around them, be around my dad, and go to various shacks from time to time. But it wasn't until a lot of years later when I was able to actually participate. Now, the odd thing is, in my years, I started my broadcasting career at ZNS. As many persons may not know, but that's where I started at ZNS. And I was, because of my family background, my knowledge of parade, I was given the opportunity to broadcast the parade over radio for many years myself, working under Mr. Pricewell Forbes and Anthony Forster and Anthony Delaney, and of course the ZNS queen of Junkanoo broadcasting, Lethera Coakley herself, the colorful. So yeah. And so I had that great privilege of broadcasting the parade for many years in my tenure there at ZNS.
You just light up when you talk about Junkanoo, okay? Like
Oh
your
yeah,
face just lights up.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, I rushed once in my life, but that was an
Yeah,
experience.
what was that like? I'm gonna do an interview now. What was that like? And which group was it? I want to know.
I feel like it was Roots, I had an amazing experience. Your face just dropped like, oh, Roots. No, they were very kind to me. I had the time of my life. But one of the things that I really enjoyed is trial by fire. They give you some of what you need, but they basically tell you, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to have ready, and don't get Jeff. I didn't
figure it out.
Yeah. So I didn't know about, Las Plumas. I didn't know about all these different places. They was like, you need a little crack ice. You need this. You need your shares. I was like,
speaking a completely different language, like crack ice, so I'm going to buy some ice from Chili Willy and break it up.
Like, exactly. So you need your tricks. I was like, they was like, you need your skirt. I was like, what I need a skirt for? I didn't know all of that was pasted. And one of the things I didn't even know you could hear the commentary on the sidelines. I thought the music drowned it out. Oh no, that's some commentary.
Yeah, y'all look stink this morning.
Yes. And that's one of the things I want to ask you about. So there's this whole subculture of Junkanoo. The first time I had to go in Palmdale to get Junkanoo supplies, I walk into the store and they sell grills and all of these plumbing supplies and stuff like that. And they had a Junkanoo section.
And you went to Bombers Welding and Fire.
Yes. And I was like,
shout out to Toons. Can I do it? Okay.
Yes.
Toons, y'all could sponsor this. Okay. Because right now we're giving you all a plug. So shout out to Bombers Welding and Fire, Junkanoo section.
Yes. And the Masqueraders crew. Yes.
Yeah.
But there's this whole subculture of Junkanoo that many people wouldn't know about. Can you tell me a little bit about that Junkanoo community? What it's like working in the shack and that whole Junkanoo economy that a lot of people might not know about?
There's a Junkanoo for many people, as a Junkanoo said, is life. Because for a Junkanoo is truly life. You eat, breathe, sleep, think, like everything is about Junkanoo. Everything evolves around Junkanoo. Nothing takes precedence over Junkanoo. You will sacrifice whatever you have to get to the road, because that is the most ultimate experience for a Junkanoo. That is their big stage. This is where you present, for many persons, you are the superstar, when you hit Bay Street. Yes, it's definitely showtime. You're a superstar. And Junkanoo, it is a subculture. Like you mentioned, the the terminologies and the language in every professional in any discipline. You do have to learn the language, the lingo, so that's something in of itself, learning the lingo, the language, and understanding that. And of course the process, you're just going to get your cardboard skirt. Most in many groups, you got to come and wire it up yourself, and you say, wire, I need an electrician. No, that's not what it means. Somebody said, you got to come and wire this up, um, so it is a subculture in itself, and a community of people who truly understand the passion between us, like why this means so much, and why you see the expression of passion when we don't win, and you won because of all of the hours that you put in, and the dedication and
And the
commitment and the
money, I
sacrifice
didn't even know.
financially. That financial sacrifice is absolutely like mind blowing. People don't. I gotta mention Saj. Saj, and then that's the other thing. They are the personalities of Junkanoo. Saj
Yes.
is the banner carrying roots member, and
Mhm.
Saj will tell you, don't pay your light bill, don't buy your wife no gifts, your children don't need no gift for Christmas.
Mhm.
Tell your landlord you can pay them in January.
Mhm.
Whatever you got, that girl or Junkanoo, because you gotta you
Mhm.
gotta get to the road, right?
Yep.
But and so it is that financial sacrifice.
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I think this year will be the first year my my kids actually are going to get a Christmas gift in about 8 years. That they're actually going to get a Christmas gift that I bought. Not here, see Christmas money, go buy something. I gotta go to the shop. See money, go buy something. I gotta go to the shop. But this year will be the first year in a very long time they're actually going to get a gift that I went into the store and buy, because I actually have the time to go and
Mhm.
do that. And that money isn't being sacrificed
Mhm.
to buy something for a costume, or to for some area of that production to get the group to the road. And the sponsorship dollars go a very long way. And shout outs to all of the sponsors of all of the groups, especially to my sponsor, the Albany, who sponsors One Family, and to Sunshine Insurance as well, who sponsors One Family, and the Coca-Cola, who's also a One Family sponsor. So thank you so much. Yes, okay, right. Who is also, and to all of the sponsors, all of the persons who uh, make it possible. Of course, to the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, and to the JCNP, who organizes all of this. So there's all of these elements and entities who financially makes it possible for a group to get to the road, as well as coordinating everything that you see happen. But that culture of Junkanoo, it is for many persons who are not involved in Junkanoo, they'd be like, I don't understand you all, but
Yeah.
no, you don't. If you experience it, and it's addictive. Junkanoo is
Yes.
very addictive. And especially if you win. Oh, you win. I gotta do this again. You want that feeling, you want that adrenaline, of knowing that you work so hard, you put so much into this, you dedicated the commitment to get to the road, all of the burn marks from the hot glue gun,
Yes.
you how much time you get stick from the rod, poking you in your side, or the staples and rip through, so there's literally blood, sweat, and tears to make this
Yes.
happen. But the Junkanoo, that's why when a group doesn't win, group member feel. That's why, John, we feel it so passionately, and we express ourselves so passionately, because it is so much passion that goes into what you see happens on Bay Street every Boxing and New Year's Day. And John Canoe is now. We also have the what we call off-season rushes,
Mhm.
which would be like the Independence, the Labor Day. Those are the off-season rushes.
Mhm. Now
Those kind. Yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit more about the logistics a little bit later on, but your hand burn up. You broke because you spent all your money. You had to go back. You don't want no chicken feathers. You want some peacock. You want some fancy feathers. You get your tricks. You're tired because you've been and these
You ain't
places
sleep
like
in a week.
yeah, like the Junkanoo supply stores, they stay open almost 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you finally make it to Bay Street and you start rushing. what is that feeling of going down Bay Street and hearing your people when they shouting one family, one family, one family, and you
You
finally
know,
hear that
I'll,
shout out? What does that feel
I'll
like?
tell you for me, and of course, most people know that I am the hype man for one family.
Mhm.
My mouth big, and you can hear me way down Bay Street with or without the microphone, right?
Mhm.
And it is part of my duties in the group is I'm the uh, leader
Mhm.
for the special presentation. So whatever that special feature is that the group does, I'm also responsible to get our prop to the road. That's a part of that special feature. So that those hype elements, when you see the confetti go off and
Mhm.
things unexpected happens, that's my job to make that happen. You
Mhm.
know, um, that's why I can never get no costume. But anyway, yeah, right. But for me, you know, usually it's as for most Junkanoo, it's that last minute in the shack, from the shack straight to the parade. The trucks pull up, and when when you hear the truck pull up,
Mhm.
your heart sink if you ain't ready.
Mhm.
Or even if you're ready, sometimes your heart is still sink because you be like, "What you? This is it now." Turning back, gotta go. Get
Mhm.
your costume or your piece loaded up on the truck. If you're coming from the shack, if you're coming from home, that time frame to get there. But for me, that feeling of heading to the parade, it's like, okay, I'm just hoping and praying that everything goes well,
Mhm.
because being a Junkanoo, you do have to be very ingenuitive. You have to be Ingenuity is critical in Junkanoo because what will Murphy's law is constant in Junkanoo. What
Yes.
will will go wrong on the day of that parade when you're there and you're about to set up. A rod can snap. Somebody
Mhm.
even before the costume get out of once it's setting up, the rod could snap.
Mhm.
Wheel broke off. These things just happen. So it's first that prayer, like, Lord, please let everything go right.
Mhm.
Please let the back line show up. Please on time. Please, please let the lead get there on time. Like you going through, and it's also a checklist. You got a prayer and a checklist all going down for me at the same time. That
Mhm.
like everything, all of the elements are there and ready to go.
Mhm.
Once I get there for me, and I touch Bay Street, through in the hole, as it's called, in the waiting area,
Mhm.
before once you're getting the group all organized, all of the costumes put together, all of the sections to make sure everybody's there. Walk over. I like to take a stroll over by the fire where the drums are heating up, and just look. I just like to look at the group members, at look on their face, and you could see literally their emotions like emanating from them right then for me.
Mhm.
And so I like to walk around and just see that and see the pieces, look at other groups. And then there's also the camaraderie of not, because you only see each other in a
Mhm.
while. Like, hey, what you saying? I can kill you all this morning, all that going on, but it's all in love and in uh good competition.
Mhm.
When the timekeeper keeper calls and says one family lineup, that's when that for me everything gets quiet. As noisy as it is on Bay Street, it gets quiet because it is truly for me the calm before the storm.
Mhm.
And it's like the butterflies start, and I'm like, okay, this is it now. I could feel it right now, right? So it is the butterflies, it's that nervousness, and the instant the brass rolls over with that fanfare, all of that is gone. The bit of
Mhm.
fear, the butterflies, the nervousness, it gone. It's like instantly as the brass rolls over with that fanfare, it's a shot of adrenaline for me that I just get pumped right up, and all of a sudden, AC, the big mouth, comes alive, and that it's as if that adrenaline, the sound sweeps through the entire group from the front to the back, because all of a sudden you see your group members just, because everybody right there, like, yeah, okay, when that, and when the music starts, it's like, oh, it just comes
Oh,
to light.
jeez.
Your group members, everybody pumped up, and this is the big show, this is the big display, and you going all of you giving this everything, and no matter how tired you are, you done been in that shop from day before yesterday. You ain't bathed since last week, right? Right? Green is an understatement for how you might smell right then, right? Well, but after a couple of shots of encouragement,
Yeah,
one or two libations of encouragement, because you need that. Trust me on that, right? You need that. No matter how tired you are, that adrenaline, that pride, in what you're doing and what you're displaying, in the work that you've put in the dedication to completion, because for so many of us, just getting to Bay Street is such a struggle. It's truly a struggle just to get there. And just to get to Bay Street, it's like I make it. You may not complete everything that you might have wanted to. You might have to, you could hear through the corner, all the hawks off, clink, 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 clink. That's all you could hear. Sometimes things getting cut off because you know what, that can't go no more. Forget that. Let's go. And so coming down Bay Street and knowing all that you've gone through in order to get there, oh man, it is such a feeling of completion. When it all comes together, it's like, wow, this is phenomenal. And it's a theatrical, I think for me, it's the world's biggest theatrical performance ever, because you've got, when you think about it, in the A category, for instance, 400 people, that are putting on a performance that's not rehearsed for the most part, okay, in synchronization, and feeding off of each other. And as you come down Bay Street and you hear person shouting out, warriors, and then when I kick off and that the big warrior chant, and I shout warriors, and then I hear it come back to me. All of that again, it's like more adrenaline. It's like you give spinach to Popeye, and I just getting stronger, getting more pumped, and look on your group member's face, and you see that intensity, and like, oh shoot, this is now, right? And especially when everything just rolling right, just going right, get more intense, you get more impassioned, more emboldened, because it is intimidating, especially if the group before you gone down, they're going down strong, you have to outdo that, right? And persons, the crowd really feed the group, because if you coming down and the crowd ain't saying nothing, they ain't standing up, they ain't reacting with you, you're like, oh boy, yeah. But if you got the crowd with you, whether they may be from, because what I do, what I gotta say, and kudos to the spectators and the supporters, no matter what group they may root for, may be their group. If you rocking and you look good, they gonna tell you look good. You all carrying on, but you all got this morning. That's what you can hear. But if you don't, they will be sitting on looking like, okay, how long it can take you all to pass? No, you all can hurry up because my group coming. I need you all to go. Right?
Or the set who come out and they tell you, there's one gentleman, he followed us the entirety of Bay Street. Y'all look bad, y'all look stink. But by the time we made it back to Shirley, that man waited with us in the rain with the sun rising. He was like, yeah, I like this. And that energy is like nothing else.
Yeah, that's it's truly like nothing else, and coming into Rawson Square, wow. That is like a volcanic eruption of emotion, of passion, of pride to be a Bahamian, to be a Junkanoo, because this is truly ground zero in the Bahamas. The Rawson Square is the nucleus of this country. So when you come to Rawson Square, and you also carry with you, like my former chairman of one family and Junkanoo brother, Darren Bastian, and would say all the time that we bring our ancestors to Bay Street with us. Every time we come over that hill and we come down Bay Street, we bring the visions and the dreams and the hopes and the passions of our ancestors from Africa straight to the Bahamas and straight down Bay Street. That's what we do. And truly, that is what happens in the hearts of every Junkanoo, that you feel that the Junkanoos who have gone on before you, you remember them in those moments. My younger brother, who was a Junkanoo, Robert, everybody knows him as JR, he would have passed away in November. So, and he had committed to me that we had never actually rushed together in the same group, because he rushed in the B category. But he said to me, bro, I can give you a lap this year. And he had committed to me that he was going to rush with me that coming Boxing Day, but he had passed away, sorry, in October. So that morning, I brought him to Bay Street with me. I brought his essence, his passion, his love for Junkanoo. I brought that with me to Bay Street.
I know that you have mentioned that you're enjoying having a little bit of extra time, but I know that there are a lot of people, they just sitting home and wishing that they could be out there creating their costumes. So tell me how your fellow Junkanoo community, the photographers, everybody who comes together to create Junkanoo, how are they coping right now, and what are they doing to fill that Junkanoo void?
You know, as I said, that Junkanoo is a very creative. The ingenuity of a Junkanoo will blow your mind,
Mhm.
right? The creativity, it is truly mind blowing. And what we are seeing because of COVID, because of, you know, this passion, this energy needs an outlet. And so many Junkanooers have taken their craft, their artistic craft, um, and put it and expressed it in other mediums. I've seen where lots of Junkanooers are creating paste portraits now that they've been displaying on social media, like their works. Been doing, sculpting, carving is a huge part of Junkanoo. I've seen a lot of Junkanooers like posting images of pieces that they've sculpted and carved and paste, things that they may have always wanted to do but never had the chance to do it. I've seen that productions and for instance, the One Family group this year, we of course no parade, so um, we've produced sections have produced some really great visual productions, audio visual productions. Our girls choreograph section in celebration of various holidays. The choreograph section released their production during the Emancipation, the August Monday holiday weekend. They released their video production, which was a celebration of a Bahama Mama theme, and also a tribute in a way to the Bahaman going back to the island video from way back in the day. So that was a video production, choreographed video production, outstanding work. Kudos to Nishka and the whole team and Kay and everybody that was a part of that production. Like, yeah, National Heroes Weekend, our back line and brass section, they released their Black Lives Matter tribute video production, which again was an outstanding piece of work. So, Junkanooers are finding other outlets, other ways to be expressive, and other ways to show what Junkanoo can do, what Junkanoo can be. It is not just Bay Street. It is far beyond Bay Street. Because of we have top-notch arrangers who write and arrange music for Bay Street. The music that you hear on Bay Street doesn't just happen. It has to be written. It has to be arranged so that it meshes well with that drum line, with that drum pattern, with that double rack. So it syncs with the bellas so that brass music has to be written. That's arranged. All right.
Wow.
So that's just one element of it. I've seen where groups have put out tutorials in how to do choreograph, or how to be a drummer, how to be like persons are doing things like this again to show their skill, their craft, and and in being an outlet for them as well.
Now you mentioned you touched on it a little bit, but if persons still wanted to support the Junkanoo community and support the future advancement of Junkanoo, how can they do so?
Well, financially, we always need money. Junkanoo is expensive. I'm getting very close to the camera as I say this. We always need money. So, if you could, break off a little something and help us out, that was awesome, right? Because it is hugely expensive. It On average, it costs a group just over $100,000 to come to Bay Street So this is no joke, all right? And that's one morning. Being supportive of a group, I would say, financially it's awesome, and you don't have to be giving a $40,000 check or $20,000 check. You could be, if you want to do, what, I would like to sponsor a costume, right? Or I'd like to sponsor a section, in terms of financial support. corporate, or even if it's an individual, you may have your little business and you want to sponsor that costume over there. It may cost $2,000 to get that costume produced. So you sponsor that costume from a particular group. And persons have been doing this, but not really in a very formal way. But there's the opportunity to be more formal with it, where you sponsor an off-the-shoulder costume for your business sponsors that, and your name is put on it. So you're getting, and of course that costume photos are going to be taken of it, videos are going to be taken of that costume. Of course, and of all the spectators seeing it. Other ways to financially assist the group, and whether it's a costume or whether it's the back line, drummers, there are various ways that you can support a group financially outside of just the big mega sponsors, I would say, or umbrella sponsors. And then the logistics that happen. It costs a lot to get costumes to Bay Street. That's wreckers, that's trailers, that's containers. It costs a lot together. So if you have a trucking business, you say, you know what, I'm going to sponsor you guys this year. I'm going to sponsor your group this year to get all of your stuff to Bay Street. So that's another thing. There's, of course, the building supplies in and of itself. Contact, expensive, but like ain't no joke, right? The building supplies. So you may have a building company and you say, you know what, I'm going to sponsor, and you may decide that I don't want to be, you may be partial to one group, or you may be partial to many, and say, or the Junkanoo in general, I'm going to sponsor 25 gallons of contact to every group. Those 25 gallons of contact, you just probably save that group about $2,500, right? That could go into another area. So, there are multiple ways of actually supporting the group. In kind goes a very, very long way. Shout outs to, I have to say thank you so much to Commonwealth Brewery, because they, listen, cardboard, thank you so much from one family and from everybody else, because that cardboard supply, we are grateful for it. It makes it so easy that you don't have to go all over the place. You supplying those cardboard sheets. It's truly one of the main lifebloods of Junkanoo, and so thank you to them for that. And your support could be as simple as you coming in the shack and being willing to help out. That's your group. You really love the group. You want to come help out, and you learn at the same time. You come. I want to help pace on something. You probably want to get pace on the back of the costume because you don't know how to pace it or something like that. But still,
I guess you got a little taste of it.
You get a taste of it. You get an experience of it. You get an appreciation for it. You learn, and you take some of the labor off of. You're a welder. I can't tell you how much money is spent on welding. You're a welder. Your welding company, you say, you know what, I want to sponsor your group. You buy the material, I will provide the labor. You know what I'm saying? Because all of that is a major cost to get what you see to Bay Street.
And a lot of persons, even I wasn't even aware of all of those, minute costs that add up over a while. So that's something even that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, because Junkanoo employs, the employment that Junkanoo brings is in the thousands in terms of the welding and fabrication, the seamstress that are sewing for their undergarments that has to be sewn. There are cloth pieces that have to be sewn and designed. So the seamstress are working, the welders are working, plumbers are working, because shacks have there's even plumbing work that has to be done. Wow. They're electricians, because there's a whole lot of lighting that goes on in the parade itself, on costumes. So you have electricians that come in that have to do that on the costumes, or even just the shack itself that has to be maintained. They're, like I mentioned, persons who are in the trucking business, because stuff needs to be moved back and forth. It's a lot, and then there are, of course, the group members who are the builders, the designers. All of that comes. There's a lot of sketching going on. So there's a lot of artisans, illustrators who are drawing costumes and illustrating costumes, and there's even engineering and architectural, because persons that do have to be engaged as well, because for a lead costume to be properly constructed, there is engineering that's going into that. So there's a lot of employment, I would say, that happens because of Junkanoo. That is not going to be, of course, happening this year.
And I just want to pivot a little bit away from Junkanoo to just speak about Carnival for a moment. Carnival also didn't happen this year, but we're hopeful that it's going to happen next year, May. Can you tell me a little bit about how the Carnival groups, specifically Enigma, have regrouped in this time period and what their plans might be going forward?
Well, I can tell a bit.
A bit is good. A bit
Because
is good.
just like Junkanoo, that
Mhm.
is very secretive.
Ah.
Carnival does, as we do have our own covert operation
I
in
understand.
Carnival too. But for us in Enigma, we were really, really gearing up for what was going to be a hugely successful year. Our theme, as we presented, Pandora's Box of Secrets, was well received, and we were like being bombarded with orders very early. We had found some new suppliers that were helping us to bring down even cost of production. So as it is expensive, to produce this. So we were looking forward to having a really, really successful year. Our signature events in Midnight Mass, and the people look forward to, of course, the parade. And we were adding a new event to it, which would have been our Cool Effect, which was literally had to be canceled. Everything was set on that Sunday when the Prime Minister made his address. 2 hours before gates were open, we had to shut everything down and cancel it. And persons were like losing their minds because this was going to be the first time that we presented this Beach Cool Effect experience. And our Enigma Blue experience, and our pool party experience that happens in the summer. So all of that did not happen, and these are all ways that we generate monies to put back into the actual production. So, being disappointed that none of that happened, of course, our E-Nation, as they're called, persons who support us, who are part of the Enigma experience, have been, like, hey, what's going to happen? Like you're asking the question. So for 2021, we are hopeful that we are able to have a carnival. And we are going to present, as we know, a lot of persons are not working. COVID has done what it's done to our economy. So we are approaching the carnival experience with that in mind, of being able to offer an experience that is very, very affordable for everybody, because we understand that the constraints are what they are. But more than just that, if we are able to play mass in 2021, we want to truly celebrate life and give persons an outlet, an opportunity to celebrate life and camaraderie and friendship and love and community and connection, because we are so disconnected. So to be able to come to the road again, we want them to be able to do that, feeling free, feeling secure as well, because we already have plans to put the necessary protocols in place, so that persons will feel secure as they come to the road. Hopefully we can make that happen in 2021. So once we get the word, you'll see what, because we can do it big, as we always do. Yeah, because Enigma is all about the experience, and so we plan to take the experience to another level again.
And also, before we get into closing, I just wanted to ask you a little bit, not just into 2021, but just going forward into the future. What do you envision as the general future of Junkanoo? How is it going to evolve and adapt going forward?
For me, and this is me, truly me,
Mhm.
um, I would love to see Junkanoo adopt more of a carnival participation for every and anybody uh, operation, and okay, um, approach to the experience.
Mhm.
In carnival, you don't need to have ever played mass. You don't need to go pace. You don't need to do any of that stuff. You just
Mhm.
purchase your package and you come and enjoy yourself. I
Mhm.
feel like Junkanoo can offer that experience as well, wherein because many persons I'd be like, oh, why you don't rush? Because I feel that every Bahamian should rush at least once. You know, you had
Yes.
your one-time experience
Yes.
and you will remember that and take that with you for the rest of your life, even if
Mhm.
you never come back, but you have an appreciation for it and it
Mhm.
gives you pride, you know, because of that experience. And I feel like every Bahamian should feel that wealth of pride at least once in your life. You need to know what it feels like to come down Bay Street with people on your left, on your right hand side, making your way towards Rawson Square. You need to know what that experience is like.
Mhm.
Now, there are many persons who do not have the time, the will, the passion, or as they feel the skill set to go through all that it takes
Mhm.
to get to Bay Street. Granted. So for us to adopt a model where your costume is prepared for you and you can come and jump in the line, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying, and experience Junkanoo from a participatory perspective, which I would say happens more so in the C, uh, B category, more so C
Yeah.
and D category, in the fun groups as they're called categories. But those persons in those fun group categories still desire that that rivalry, that
Mhm.
energy, that big experience of the A groups and then the B groups as well. So
Mhm.
for the A and the B categories to adopt that model, even as if it's only in a section of the
Mhm.
group where it is that fun experience. You know, we have people come from all over the world to to see Junkanoo, but there's nothing like experiencing it or from being in Junkanoo and participating in Junkanoo. You know, um, persons by you travel to Trinidad or even here in the Bahamas to come for Carnival because you're participating in it. So why can't somebody who instead of spending all that money to come to stand up on the bleachers and look at it,
Mhm.
let them spend that money and a little extra that actually supports the group because the group now is becoming more self-sufficient by, okay, we're producing 100 costumes that are going to be sold, and this is that fun section within the group, within one family, you know, and those costumes are produced and they're sold. And so now those persons that come to the road from wherever they are from all over the world, I guarantee you, they are going to come back and bring somebody else with them.
Mhm.
Right. And in that, you're also creating more industry because those 100 costumes have got to be made by somebody,
Mhm.
right? Produced by somebody. The materials got to be bought. So that's economics happening there. That's persons being employed by the group. For me, the groups becoming more self-sufficient, becoming more self-sustained is where I feel Junkanoo will survive. And groups, we are brands. We are brands. Collect last season introduced the Collect cans with the branding for the various group, and persons ate those, or I should say, drank those down. You know what I'm saying? um, uh, and just had to have a can, because this is and so the group is a brand. So groups also truly approaching the way they present the group's product as a brand. It isn't, that one family and head logo is my brand.
Mhm.
That is no less than any other brand, any other product brand, because that is my brand. So my T-shirt, my hat, my mug, products that actually present our brands. Again, this is all for me. Overall, just to wrap this up again, is for groups to become self-sustained. You know what I'm saying? Not just handout or expectation, self-sustained.
Excellent. Thank you so much, AC. I think that you have brought a much greater awareness for persons who have never taken part in Junkanoo, and give us a little glimpse of how Junkanoo can evolve over the years. And I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to be here with us today.
Appreciate you asking me to come on and speak on behalf of my group, the One Family Community Organization and Junkanoo Group. Shout outs to our group chairman, Miss Christina Muffin Fernando, a queen of Junkanoo for sure. And she has been very influential and dynamic about the expansion of our group, and giving more and more persons opportunities to do different things, and recognizing that the growth of the group truly is in the group and the youth of the group, and younger persons stepping up to the plate and leading in various areas. So I give shout outs to her for her and her leadership, and the entire steering team of One Family, to in all of the sections, the brass, the back line, the tom-tom drummers, bass drummers, the designers, our marshal team, our coordination and logistics team. It is, these are all departments with leadership roles. And you may not be the person to want to get out on Bay Street, but you may have a skill set that you can make available to a group. You may not want to get on Bay Street, but you are an awesome coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Logistics are your thing. That's your passion. You could do that. That's how you can be a part of a group. You may never ever rush, but you are involved in a group from some skill set that you have, or some discipline that you have, that can be utilized to make that group run more efficient and effectively.
Awesome. Thank you again, AC. And, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. And, everybody else, please stay tuned for the rest of the expo, because we have a lot of exciting things coming up. And hopefully you have encouraged a few more persons to make it down to Bay Street in the hopefully very near future.
Well, I got one more thing.
Yes.
Warriors in your belly, boy.
You know what I said? Nothing to that. I get myself in trouble at all.
Yeah.
Thanks, AC.
All right.